Hello, welcome to Personal Mastery Ignites Teaching and Learning Innovation. This presentation is brought to you by Dr. Tanya Sanchez, Dr. Carrie Newby, Dr. Roberta Cravo, Dr. Robert H. Brown, and Dr. Mina Berry. Next slide. This presentation has the following objectives. We'd like for you as participants to be able to explain the basic underpinnings and insights brought about in Senge's the fifth discipline, the art and practice of the learning organization. We'd like you to also be able to identify Senge's concepts of personal mastery within the disciplines. And finally, we'd like you to be able to develop a beginning vision or conceptualization of personal mastery by the end of this presentation. Next slide. Now, Dr. Tanya Sanchez will speak to you on this subject, which is personal mastery in learning organizations.
Okay, I would like to begin with Senge 2006 defines a learning organization as one that continually adapts, grows, and evolves by fostering a culture where people expand their capacity to share knowledge, create, and innovate together. In this environment, individuals and groups co-create knowledge, learning not only from their experiences, but also from the organization or system itself. Personal mastery emphasizes clarifying one's vision, aligning learning and experience with purpose, and committing to continued growth through learning and reflection. It invites us to ask what matters most to us. Who am I? What is my purpose or goal I wish to achieve? Such questions help us create a tension between present reality and future aspirations, as seen in the picture on the left of your screen, between your beliefs and your vision and your stretching between the current reality. This practice, therefore, deeply connected with foundational disciplines such as shared vision, mental models, and team learning, all unified by systems thinking. Within organizations, personal mastery not only influences individual development, but also shapes systems in a profound, often unseen ways. Senge 2006 defines system thinking as the fifth discipline, which is the framework or connectiveness that connects all these disciplines. I'll just do a brief review of systems theory. Laszlo and Krippner in 1998 defines generally three theories in systems. First, beginning with general systems theory, which underscores organized interdependence, feedback, and hierarchy. Dynamic systems theory extends this vision by highlighting adaptation, emergence, and interaction within changing environments. And finally, complex adaptive systems, which deepen the perspective even further, showing how learning and self-organization and co-creation enable systems to remain flexible, resilient, and transformative in the face of external pressures. Beyond this systems theory, related concepts that reinforce and extend Senge's framework, such as research into personal organization fit by Plateau and Harrison and colleagues, illustrates the importance of value alignment. It's found that higher personal fit reduces job exhaustion and cynicism, thereby building organizational trust, while meaningful job crafting amplified with resilience are values that remain aligned. These findings highlight that individuals thrive when their personal values resonate with organizational culture, reducing burnout and strengthening their commitment. Goleman, 1995, defines emotional intelligence as a critical role in advancing personal mastery within learning organizations. Core competencies of emotional intelligence are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social management. These involve self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. that help us equip individuals to manage emotions effectively, sustaining, again, resilience, building constructive relationships throughout organizations. Both educators and learners who cultivate these skills strengthen collaboration as a cornerstone of successful learning organizations. The principle of growth mindset, articulated by Dweck in 2006, further complements personal mastery by recognizing that intelligence and abilities can be developed through effort and persistence. Individuals reframe challenges and setbacks as growth opportunities. At the organizational level, this mindset fosters adaptability and shared learning, creating cultures where mistakes are not punished, but seen as vital steps in development. Finally, Kahneman in 2013 explains his dual process theory, which adds yet again another dimension to systems thinking. His distinction between fast or intuitive thought, often seen as the automatic pilot mode, explained by System 1, and the slow, more deliberate, rational System 2, underscores the importance of self-awareness in decision-making. For learning organizations, cultivating the ability to balance these thought modes helps reduce bias, improve accuracy, and enhance pattern recognition across complex systems. Together, all these concepts, personal organizational fit, emotional intelligence, growth mindset, and thinking modes, strengthen the disciplines of personal mastery and systems thinking, helping grow learning organizations. Value alignment fosters trust and resilience. Emotional intelligence enhances interpersonal collaboration. Growth mindsets fuels adaptability, and Kahneman's insight refines decision making. When integrated, these frameworks align with Sanchez' vision of the learning organization as a dynamic system in which individuals continually expand their capacity to create resulting results while recognizing their interdependence with the whole in pursuance of personal mastery. Next, Dr. Newby will explain various theoretics, exploration into personal mastery. You're on mute.
Oops. So when talking about personal mastery, theoretical exploration, it is important that we touch upon some of the more important and more germane theories to personal mastery. And they include self-determination theory, constructivism theory, Prochaska's trans-theoretical model, behaviorism by Skinner, social learning theory, self-efficacy, which is Bandura, and Kolb's experiential learning. So in self-determination theory, Deci et al. In 1991 emphasized that human motivation is driven by a need for autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When individuals experience self-determination, they are more likely to engage in intrinsic learning and sustained growth. Within the discipline of personal mastery, self-determination supports the ability of individuals to set and pursue meaningful goals, aligning personal values with organizational objectives. In learning organizations, the intrinsic motivation contributes to systems thinking by ensuring that members remain engaged in problem solving and collaboration. Ultimately, this strengthens adaptive capacity and long-term effectiveness. In constructivism theory, as explained by Kami and Ewing, 1996, who posited that learners actively construct knowledge through interactions with their environment and prior experiences. This perspective shifts learning from passive reception to active meaning making. In the context of personal mastery, constructivism encourages individuals to continuously question assumptions, integrate new insights, and refine their understanding. Within systems thinking, this aligns with Sanchez' 2006 emphasis on mental models and interconnectedness, as constructivist learning fosters deeper awareness of how personal perspectives shape organizational outcomes, involving introspective and autonomous thought to foster new systems of thinking. Prochaska's trans-theoretical model, often referred to as the TTM, of behavior change, was developed by he and his colleagues, according to Raham and Coburn, which outlines stages of change, including pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. This model highlights that transformation is a gradual process requiring self-awareness and sustained effort. Personal mastery reflects these same principles, as individuals must continuously recognize where they are in their growth journey and commit to improvement. In learning organizations, TTM aligns with systems thinking by acknowledging that change occurs on multiple levels, individually, in teams, and in systems, requiring patience, reinforcement, and collective support. Behaviorism, as articulated by Skinner, 1963, emphasizes that behavior is shaped by reinforcement and conditioning. Within personal mastery, behaviorist principles encourage disciplined practice and the reinforcement of habits that support growth and resilience. By creating incentives or experiences that drive growth and benefits the overall learning experience. At the organizational level, behaviorist approaches inform how learning organizations design structures that reward collaborative learning, knowledge sharing, and systems-oriented decision-making. By aligning reinforcement mechanisms with desired systemic outcomes, behaviorism helps strengthen organizational change and culture in ways that promote systems thinking. Social learning theory, on the other hand, by Bandura, 1977, was expanded on his earlier social learning theory when he introduced the concept of self-efficacy as the core cognitive mechanism underlying behavioral change. While social learning theory emphasizes that people learn new behaviors through observation, modeling, and reinforcement, self-efficacy explains why individuals choose to attempt, persist in, or abandon those behaviors. Bandura distinguished between efficacy expectations, the belief in one's ability to perform an action, and outcome expectations, the belief that the action will produce a desired result, clarifying that efficacy is often the stronger predictor of performance. Four sources: performance accomplishments, vicarious experiences, verbal persuasion, and physiological states shape self-efficacy and determine how effectively social learning translates into action. By integrating these ideas, Bandura showed that belief in one's capabilities is what allows observed behaviors to become sustained, adaptive practices, and making self-efficacy the bridge between learning and behavioral change. In other words, Bandura believed if you can't see it, you can't be it. Kolb's experiential learning, on the other hand, theorizes that learning is a cyclical process involving concrete experience, reflective observations, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation, according to Choshi 2025. For personal mastery, this process reinforces the need for continuous reflection and application, allowing individuals to integrate new skills into their daily practice. Within systems thinking, experiential learning equips members of learning organizations to test ideas, assess outcomes, and adapt strategies based on real-world feedback. This cycle of experimentation and reflection strengthens systemic awareness and organizational resilience, making experiential learning a cornerstone of adaptive capacity in complex environments. Next slide, please. Oh, prior to changing slides, I just wanted to mention that there is, can we go back? There is this diagram here that I've just explained how intrinsic motivation from within, that's motivation from within, leads to autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Whereas extrinsic motivation, which is like a trophy, is going to be offered from another source, is going to come from outside with compensation, punishment, and reward. Again, I'm sorry, and move on to the next slide. So now Dr. Mina Berry is going to speak to you about personal mastery and learning organizations.
Thank you, Dr. Newby. Now we will take a step from theory towards application of personal mastery. Personal mastery, systems thinking, and intrinsic motivation. All of them are grounded in a growth and appreciative mindset. Appreciative mindset means intentionally focusing on the strengths of our own and strengths of others, looking for the best in one another. That does not mean that we just ignore the negatives. Rather, it means we are reframing the negative as an opportunity to work on, as an opportunity to grow. As Isbister said, when a flower does not bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. Next slide, please. So we will, on the right-hand side, we see a 6D appreciative education framework. And on the left-hand side, we see autonomic nervous system as a ladder. Now we will see how the two interact and how the two are related. Let's start with the 6D appreciative education framework. The first D is disarm. In the first phase, the disarm, it involves creating a safe, welcoming, and nurturing environment for our students. This leads to a parasympathetic activation. Nervous system experiences calm, rest, and as you know, rest and digest are related. This is essential for openness to listening. Phase 2, discover, in which students reflect on their own strengths and past successes. This further triggers dopamine release in the nervous system, which again leads to calm and composure. Phase 3 is dream, in which students envision their best possible future. This positive imagery shifts the autonomic state from relaxation towards creativity, moving the nervous system to the topmost tiers of the ladder, which is ventral vagal activation. Phase 4 is design, in which students co-create actionable steps to achieve their envisioned future. The key is structured approach further leads to creativity and keeps the students in the ventral vagal state. Even though it is a lot going on in the design phase, there is a lot of responsibility on the student, but student still remains in the ventral vagal state where they feel safe, they feel engaged. Phase 5 is deliver, where students take ownership of their design and move a step closer to their goal. They feel engaged, they feel connected, socially connected, and they are still learning. The last phase is don't settle, which involves striving for continuous growth in a very supportive environment. When we are striving for growth without support, it may lead to sympathetic activation. So the key here is support. When students are supported by faculty, staff, by the resources available at university, they remain in the ventral vagal state. Now, I will be handing it over to my colleague, Dr. Roberta Cravo, and she will go over application of personal mastery in health sciences. Roberta, floor is all yours.
you. So how do we put all these ideas in concepts into an application? So in order to do that, we created the Health Science Symposium. And the Health Science Symposium is a collaborative initiative between dual credit high school students from the Health Science Academy and biological college students from Collin College. The idea of the project is that dual credit students actually get to develop a research on their field of interest. So in order to participate in the Health Science Symposium, these students need to submit a research that is completed with an abstract, a paper, and also a poster presentation that they will later present at the Health Science. So what happens is if students want, they can actually add a makerspace creation or something visual to complement their application. Then Collin College Science students are going to work as mentors. So they are going to review the research project, they're going to give feedback, they're going to criticize the work done by the health science dual credit students. At the end of the semester, when the project is done, the dual credit health students have the opportunity to present their work and their results at the Health Science Symposium. And they have also the opportunity to interact with colleagues, faculty members, and also other people that decide to attend the meeting, right? After that, we're going to have faculty that is going to work as judges, and they're going to analyze the projects, the presentation, and then they're going to give points out. After all the points are included, then we're going to have the winners, and usually we give them a special prize in a form of a scholarship. So the idea of this Health Science Symposium is to work with a mentee-mentor experience between the dual credit high school students and biological students. It works in collaboration with them, and the point is to achieve personal growth, agency, and research. On the image here to your right, you can see this is a cover of the booklet that we create for every single one of the symposium. And inside the booklet, you're going to have the student's name and also the research subject. So it is kind of you would have in a professional conference.
So when we were first putting together the idea for the Health Science Symposium, we had a couple of ideas in mind that we really wanted to hit on and make sure that the students were getting this experience and were able to work on certain personal mastery skills. So what we have here are two different columns. The first column are the dual credit students that are part of the Health Science Academy. And so the skills that we're really looking to codify for these students were going to be things like individual research skills and specifically scientific research experience. So this is something that in a normal classroom, students really don't get a lot of experience with, especially things like giving them a very broad parameter and asking them to narrow down a topic. So this really gives them the opportunity to exhibit some of that agency to be able to decide what is a topic of interest to them and then go forth and look for supporting materials for that. Specifically good scientific research that will support their ideas. And then they have to verify, is this good scientific research? Does it actually fit my topic? Is it relevant? And so these kinds of skills, we really wanted to give them a chance to really express themselves with. The next skill we were looking at was public speaking. So this is also something that, especially nowadays, students don't really get a whole lot of experience in. And so tend to see a lot more anxiety now with public speaking. And so by giving them the opportunity to practice, this will provide them with the opportunity to maybe overcome some of this anxiety as they go forward in whatever careers they may choose, especially if they're going into education or careers where they need to express themselves to others. The next skill we were looking at was teamwork skills and communication skills. So not only communication skills in the public speaking setting, but also communication skills with their mentor. So providing them the opportunity to work with somebody else as part of a team to create something together. And so giving them the opportunity where they have to communicate their ideas back and forth to create this collaborative event. And then the last and arguably the most important skill is critical thinking skills. So this can be applied in a lot of different contexts, but for this one specifically, because they have this agency to design their own project, we're really asking them to look through what is a good project? Does my idea fit with the theme of the Health Science Symposium? Am I going about it the right way? Is the research that I'm finding applicable? And if not, how can I fix that? And so on the right-hand side, we have the list of skills that we were looking to improve in our biological science college students. And so the first one there is the same skill that we want in our health science academy students, and that's critical thinking skills, because this is important for students of all grade levels, not just high school or college or anything like that. And so what we're looking for here is not so much in their designing critical thinking skills, but their analytical critical thinking skills of these health science students' projects. So looking at it, is the information that they're being provided accurate? If it's not, how can I help them fix this information? If it is, then what can I add to this to make this a better project overall? The next skill is going to be communication and feedback skills. So as serving as their mentor, they need to be able to read this research they've been given, come up with ideas and how to improve it, but also to provide the feedback in a meaningful way. Something that the Health Science Academy students can actually take to use to improve their project, not just be critical of it, and provide something that will actually improve the overall, not just make it their own project. So allowing it to still be the health science students' project. The next skill we were looking at was leadership and mentorship experience. So again, a lot of times students are used to coming to class, they're used to listening to the teacher, going home and studying on their own, maybe studying as part of a group, but they don't really have a whole lot of chance to be in a leadership position. So this really gives them the chance to be in the driver's seat, to be, in this case, the content expert, which leads to the next skill, which is application of knowledge. And so in their position, they should have more knowledge base of the biological aspects of whatever the project is. So being able to take the information that they have been learning in their college courses and apply it to the Health Science Academy's project, to hopefully provide feedback that can actually make their research more relevant. Next slide, please. So in addition to these individual mastery skills we were looking at, we also wanted to think a more holistic approach, as when we have these students working together from these two different populations, what kind of skills can we improve in that sense? So the first one was coming at it from a systems thinking approach. So you have students that are in a more health science academy setting where maybe their viewpoint is, how is this applicable in a clinical setting, or how can this help me when I get to a clinical setting, something like that. Whereas the college students may be coming at with a viewpoint of, is the biology correct? How can I apply this biology? Where does the biology meet with the health science part of it? And so the idea is to give multiple viewpoints, which is going to allow you to hopefully create a product that is a little bit more valuable in the end, that can actually reach a wider range of audience members, or at least come up with something that they can apply more to their own lives. The next collaborative skill we're looking at was emotional intelligence, because we're taking two different populations of students from different schools at different educational levels, and we're having them communicate together. And so each one of these student populations needs to understand the position of the other students so that they can accurately convey their ideas, and not offend their partner, their mentor, or their mentee. And then the last skill we're looking at is reflective practice. So the idea of our mentors looking through this information they've been giving, determining what is good, what is bad, how can I help make this a better product? And then being able to take that and word it in such a way that it's going to be helpful to their mentee to improve their project. And then the mentee then needs to take that information and go, okay, I've received this feedback. How can I actually use this to convey my ideas in a better way to the audience when I get to the Health Science Symposium? So this requires a lot of internal thinking and internal contemplation about how they want to best apply these ideas. And so if you switch to the next slide, Dr. Berry is going to describe an activity to help you identify some personal mastery skills that you may want to incorporate into your own courses.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Now I invite you all to scan this QR code and design your own personal mastery plan using this interactive board where you will see many sticky notes Choose the color you want, the color you like, and then click on that sticky note and write your own, design your own personal mastery plan. Let's create a vision for our future, for our personal mastery. And now I will hand it over to Dr. Newby.
Thank you, Dr. Berry. Just real quickly, could we go back a couple slides back up to where Dr. Brown was? I just wanted to point something out about the brilliance of what the Health Sciences Symposium was able to do. If you look at this slide here, that the picture that's shown here, this is actually a 7-pane macroscopic slide made by one of the students involved in the Health Sciences Symposium. He was able to, using systems thinking, go through the systems of the body. And this human being is actually 5'4". I'm 5 foot tall, so I know how tall this was. It was huge. And we were very impressed because he was able to outline the nerves, the ligaments, the tendons, the arteries, the veins. And when you pulled it all out, you actually had a person. You could go from one system all the way around the body, then slide it all back in, and it gave you this. And I just didn't want y'all to not see how amazing it is when you give these mentees and mentors a chance to work together, what they can come up with. We thought this was pretty brilliant. And this young man actually was able to sell this to a publisher, and he was able to use the money to fund his university education. So now if we go back to the other slide on contact, thank you. So thank you very much for joining us. And I just wanted to let you know that our contact information is here. You can see Dr. Tanya Sanchez at Collin College. You can contact her there or at one of her affiliations. She's put her contact for tsanchez at collin.edu. I'm Dr. Carrie Newby, and you can contact me at knewby@collin.edu. And I'm also an adjunct here at the University of Arizona Global Campus. Dr. Roberta Cravo, Collin, rcravo@collin.edu. Dr. Robert Brown at Collin, rhbrown@collin.edu. And Dr. Mina Berry can be contacted at mberry@collin.edu, and her other affiliations are there. So again, thank you very much for joining us. And just so you know that we didn't just come up with all this off the top of our head. We just wanted to give you the references and let you know that you can go ahead and look them up. As you see, we do have a number of references that are out of the APA within the last 5 years, but that's because they're seminal articles. They're about actual theories that have not been disproven or whatever. So just so that you know, we know what the rule is, because that's how we grade y'all. But we just want you to know that we did this based on the fact that they're seminal. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the conference, and we wish you the greatest of success in all your educational endeavors.